this computer. Ah, nah, this ain't gonna go today. This ain't gonna happen. There's no chance. Yeah, there's no chance. Already in the red, 1 bar. Is it the fucking computer? No. Oh, here we go. Now we're at 89. We might be able to make something happen, maybe. Gotta keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on it. If we got that turbulence, we got that turbulence rolling. 17, 38, 68, 61. You gotta keep an eye on that. Gotta keep an eye on that. When you ain't doing the hard wire, it ain't in the best interest of the people. Doing stuff, thanks, Lori. Yo, what up, Shepard? Yo, what up? Here ×2, bro. This shit, it's such a. I'm gonna do the whole stream like this. I can't see shit, but at this rate, I'm so triggered. It might just have to be. You're much better, yeah, much better. Oh, frozen. Hey, we'll go with the freezing. Why is the internet so bad today? Are we frozen? If it's gonna be Chop City, I don't know what the fuck, bro. What is happening? What is happening today? Oh, I'm getting triggered. I'm getting triggered fucking big time. Just hopping on the treadmill, but let's rip. I don't know if we're gonna be able to rip today. The internet, yeah, no, it's Chop City. The internet is losing its fucking grip. I don't know what is going on. I did everything I needed to do. It's completely random. Some days it's okay, and then some days it's Chop City. Chop City galore, you know what I'm saying? They're trying to censor you? I really wouldn't be surprised, bro. Like, in the slightest. But I think we're okay right now. Jake has hacked your Wi-Fi. Yo, fuck that guy. You kidding me? Fuck that guy. Alright. Can I get a 1 in the chat if we're okay right now? If we're okay, let me know. I'm going to lower the quality here to 144p just to maybe alleviate some of the congestion on the network, maybe. Maybe that's what it is. I got my degree in IT from fucking Google, bro. No, I'm just kidding. What up, guys? What up, what up? All right. Hit the like button on your way in. Hit the like button. Let me get some of these. Let me get some headphone action up in that. I can't hear shit. Jamie, give me some volume on that. Give me some volume on that, Jamie. Please, please, please. Por favor. P-O-R, favor. Thank you, kind sir. Aliens coming for you? Bro, the aliens are coming for us all. So don't even get me started on that shit. Alien hunting. The digital outlook coming for your Celsius drinking. Yo, welcome to Celsius chat. Yo, some guy, he commented on the VOD. Why did that pause? Oh, because I paused it. All right, whatever. That's fine. Chop, chop, chop. Yeah, the market definitely is going chop. Hit the like button on the way and do me a solid before we get rocking and rolling. Unless the internet literally wants to censor us to the finest degree. Welcome to Coffee Chat. Welcome to Coffee Chat. Why can't I make this larger? Give me the pop-out chat. Let me move that over here. Thank you, kind sir. Thank you. All right. Yo, what up, Ricky? What up, boss? Like a boss. What up, what up? Could take these off for right now, because we're not... Oh, shit. Yo, we got, what's his name? Black Swan going live at 2:30. They're supposed to be going live. I wonder what sort of guest they're going to have on. Let me see. Anything good today? I mean, there's some stuff going on. Nothing too crazy. It's kind of just more massive revelations regarding the Big E files. Why pump today? I definitely wouldn't call this a pump, dude. Going up 2 pennies, 2-3 pennies is not a pump in my eyes. But there's never any. I think the Iran stuff is gonna pop off within the next couple of weeks. I mean, there's a reason they're sending the 2nd aircraft carrier down there. There's a reason BB just met with Donnie. I mean, these things don't just kind of happen. Yeah, Black Swan is usually pretty good. That Edo guy, he kind of derails the conversation a lot sometimes, because he like will stop the flow of conversation to like play a fucking 5-minute video, and it's like, all right, come on, we were rolling. Daz with the 5 schmeckles, bro. You're my favorite crypto channel now. 5 British pounds. Yo, I appreciate that, my guy. I appreciate that. Shout out Daz. Absolute fucking legend, bro. the 5 European schmeckles that's going in my back pocket to my cigarette fund, dude. I don't even, I was gonna say drink cigarettes. I don't even smoke cigarettes, but I might start now that I got that 5. I appreciate that, my dude. For real. All right, how are we? What do we got? What do we got? We got 36 people watching. We got, let me hit the refresh button. We got 17 likes. That's a bunch of bullshit. Hit the like button real quick. Do me that solid. I need some like, I need music or something. It's too quiet. Let me get some of that. I don't even want that music, but it's too quiet. I hate sitting in silence like that. Not Two-Door Cinema. What's that other song? Fucking car radio. And now I just sit in silence. I'm not about that. 18, I just liked it. Appreciate that. Just wait for the crash over the next month before you buy again. I mean, I'm not trying to time the market. I chip away. I sold my play bag this morning at $1.35 thinking it was tanking. Screwed up again. You guys, I mean, never financial advice. Don't listen to some random guy on the internet, but time in the market usually doesn't play out for the vast majority of people, because even the chart guys, oh, I drew a triangle on the fucking top. All these guys I'm seeing all over Twitter now again. Oh, I drew this triangle. That means alt season's fucking here again after this. Is your chart taken into consideration Donnie blowing Iran to smithereens with the second fucking aircraft carrier? I don't think so. I don't think it takes into a lot. I don't think any of the charts took in the vid-19. Our boy Stock Mo said yesterday he went over 1 million in XRP. Yeah, why do I not buy that at all? I don't know. Maybe he is balling like that. I don't know. No talk here about pizza, grape soda, or beef jerky. Yeah, I'm not. None of that. I don't even like grape soda or beef jerky. Like, beef jerky's okay. Actual beef jerky, not whatever beef jerky they were talking about. Because it sure as hell wasn't Jack Link's, whatever the fuck they were saying. But I saw a snippet of the video someone in the chat mentioned last time we were live, how there was the dude in the Atlanta airport, and he was just like freaking out on everyone, like, you're all fucking zombies. You're all zombies. You're sitting there pacified in the Matrix. They're out there sacrificing and eating babies, which is honestly just kind of like the tip of the iceberg, which is kind of disgusting and scary when you think about it. But it is. I mean, dude, everybody's pacified. No one gives a fuck about anything. It's also like, you need a level of coordination, and I mean, you got to be careful what you say on YouTube, but you get what I'm saying. HODL gang since 2020. Usually HODLins, I mean, that's not to say don't take profits, but whenever we're sitting at a 5 on the Fear and Greed Index, 5. This is lower than like FTX, all this shit. Just a random Thursday this happened. This extra downturn. I don't know. Is it random? But time and time again. I remember at one of my old jobs years and years ago, sitting in like the break room, just wasting time because there was nothing going on. And it was the same kind of market sentiment all over Twitter. Things had crashed. Oh, it's over. It's over every day. And I was just sitting there. I remember in my uncomfortable ass work shirt, just buying every day, buying, checking the news, buying. I'm like, what the fuck are all these people freaking out about? It pays off, dude. E-files are so fake. Why the hell these elites pushing half the stuff in writing, not even using code words? Well, I wouldn't agree that they're all fake. I mean, I'm definitely Captain Skeptical, and I've raised that question too. Some of them might be. And yeah, I mean, you gotta wonder. You do gotta, I mean, they were trying to use code words at some time. Do you think they were just that in your face about it, that they thought they were never gonna get caught? I'm sure there's way worse things that we'll never see, kind of encrypted messaging, whatever platforms and shit, and text messages. But some of it, it's definitely real to a certain extent when you got these guys kind of blowing the lid on it. I mean, Alex Jones and all these guys, tons of people have been talking about this. Whitney Webb, like all these guys and Whitney Webb, girl, have been talking about this stuff going on for a long time. So it's just now seeing the light of day, and then you got to question who are the people, yet again, calling the shots of what gets redacted and what doesn't, because that's the actual people calling the shots. But it's like a satanic vampire-y cult. That's what it is. There's all sorts of different offshoots of cults, but I mean, we've heard time and time again throughout the years of how satanic and disgusting Hollywood is, and people doing sacrifices, and I don't know. There's just so much weird stuff. Like, there's a lot of weird stuff going on with Kai Cenat now. I don't know if you guys know who Kai Cenat is, but he was the largest on top of the world streamer. And then he started hanging around like Kevin Hart, and people were going, oh, now that he's hanging around Kevin Hart, it's all downhill from there. Fast forward not that long after, now he's like weird, and it's just weird. I don't know. And then they talk about even crazier stuff of like basically soul hopping into different bodies and shit. I don't know. This is the tip of the iceberg. You guys were telling me about basically like sacrifices and them trying to open up portals and shit at CERN, and then there's video of them doing some weird looking shit at CERN. This is what DARPA. I mean, there's so much. There's stuff in the e-files I was seeing about them talking about at least looking into using directed energy weapons type, that sort of stuff, and using radio frequencies to kind of subliminally, subconsciously mind control people, hitting certain frequencies that you're not even aware that are penetrating your brain with kind of certain constant messages and shit. Very weird stuff. Very weird stuff. Clean looking beanie. I appreciate that, my guy. Appreciate that. I was never a beanie guy before, but ever since I started growing my hair out, it's beanie time. Otherwise, it's just crazy. Goes back to the Mansa. It goes back even further than that, Zebra. Shout out Zebrafish. Guys, hit the like button real quick. Do me that solid. Helps the stream out. Yeah. If you think all this Guthrie stuff is to quiet down the media on Epstein? What do you mean Guthrie? What's that? Guthrie? What's that? Is a segment of Burning Man you'll never see. Coinbase going out of business? I don't know about that, but guys, if any of you have your shit on any exchange, never financial advice, but you probably shouldn't do that. I don't know how many times people got to go into have to go through this sort of bullshit. The exchanges are not your friends. And yeah, they missed their earnings. They're catching a lot of heat from like Besant and everything because they're holding up the Clarity Act. I don't know. Yo, legend, does war with Iran tank the market? What theory can make the market crash? I appreciate that. Jay with the $5 super chat. My guy, appreciate that. Damn, I need to get an external wallet, and soon. You really should. You should. You should never. Time and time and time again. Nothing is ever... How many times do we have to witness it? Nothing is ever too big to fail. Ever. And not your keys, not your crypto. That's it. That's it. You know? You should definitely research some cold wallets. Be smart about it. And that's it. Never leave your shit on an exchange. Ever. I don't know. Like, I mean, do what you got to do at the end of the day. Because some people leave, like, a little bag on there because they're trading and this and shit. You know, everyone's got their own situation. But if you're leaving all your fucking crypto on these exchanges and seeing shit heat up, because yesterday Coinbase, I didn't confirm this myself, but I was seeing a lot of different reports talking about how they paused. Like, you couldn't do anything. They basically locked down the exchange for a short time yesterday. But they were like, oh, but your funds are safe. Your funds are safe right now. But you couldn't, like, get or buy. I don't like seeing that. I don't like seeing that at all, especially when they miss their earnings and Brian Armstrong is selling a shit ton of his stock. I don't know. It's just odd movement. Odd movements going on right now. War usually pumps the markets. I would probably disagree with that. I hate that Kraken holds my crypto for 7 days before I can withdraw. Yeah, that's fucking... It's the exact reason of why centralized exchange... It's bank 2.0. Like, if you're going through a centralized exchange like that, it's the bank's 2.0. That's what Brian Armstrong wants. Yeah, level playing field. All right, cool. At the end of the day, we shouldn't even be using these fucking sort of guys anyway. DeFi will eventually take the reins. Any good news, Mike? We got some decent stuff rolling around. The only thing that ever pumps the markets is money. It's liquidity for sure. Definitely feels like the Fed putting pressure on Coinbase. Coinbase has some pressure going on for sure, but it's like, are they really gonna... I can't see... I can see Coinbase succeeding in the long term, but as DeFi ramps up and everything, I don't see how the traditional finance players don't stomp them out essentially in a certain way and kind of take the market share, and the rise of these DeFi platforms like Hyperliquid and shit. I don't know. I think the glory days of them being front and center are kind of over. Like, watching that Super Bowl commercial they did seemed so... They're defending it to the end of time. They're defending that it's the best fucking ad ever to get people introduced to crypto. I don't know about that. Literally sitting there singing, everybody. And then Coinbase, and they're like, oh my god, Coinbase played that song. I'm gonna go buy Bitcoin right now. I don't know. I don't buy that at all. But I'm not a marketing expert by any means, I guess. But something tells me Coinbase is gonna go. It's gonna kind of be like that. You look at their stock price; it's down like 60% over the last couple of months. I don't know. I don't see a too positive trajectory for Coinbase. But if the markets overall start juicing to the gills again and liquidity's flying, then obviously money's going to be like the tax returns. People are thinking that's going to play as a huge catalyst to get money back into the markets. Like some guy in here in the chat the other day said he's getting back like 3,000 or 4,000. And he said, yeah, I'm buying. That's my XRP money. That's what it would be for me too. I took all my stuff off Coinbase. Yeah, good. You should never leave it on an exchange. The ad cost was $55 million. Super Bowl was ass. I mean, I think football and a lot of those major league sports are definitely, what's the word? Manipulated and calculated to the finest degree. Yeah, 141 is not a pump. Can we fucking moon? I think sometime this year we will get some upward price action. They're talking bagpipe day, talking spring. What's his face was just back on CNBC Squawk Box today. What's his face? Besant. And he said spring. So they're floating spring around. They're never right about anything. So I give them the buffer until like November of this year. I know it's frustrating. It's also, people got to take into the consideration that if they get this Clarity Act passed, it might not do anything to the markets, dude. It might not. I mean, get in my wallet today. I use Uphold. Is that a decent exchange? I mean, I'm not too familiar with Uphold, but any exchange, in my opinion, I would not leave any of like my large bags on an exchange because it's not yours at that point. That's it. Sometimes I leave a little because if it, yeah, that's it. I like Tangent cold wallets, very easy to use and beginner friendly. Yeah, and definitely do your research about what cold wallets you will pick. Definitely, that's a subject. If you're gonna get a cold wallet, make sure you put the time in. I'll file taxes next month. Uphold spread prices are tough. Kraken's better. December 2026, another bearable guy. 1, 2, 3. Hopefully the final, because I'm tired. I'm tired, Grandpa. Some would say it's the 300 fallen angels. Tied with the power of the financial system. Let me see. What did that say? Any recommendations? I hear Ledger. Ledger's always kind of at the top, and Trezor. I think Trezor's the other name, is always at the top. I'm not too familiar with all the different other cold wallets that have come on the scene from those. I have seen some Ledger things where they get data breached. I haven't looked too deep into that, but I've seen stories of them getting data breached, so people's fucking customer info gets leaked. Yeah, that's what you want. All these people who are holding crypto, you want their information out there from a hack. That's what you want. Fucking idiots, dude. Incredible. Great for beginners. If Clarity passes, then it's 9 months before it goes live. Yeah, I mean, Ledger's great. Yeah. I mean, you just gotta do some research. That's it. And let the real players boom. Wish we could send every crypto scam to zero instantly. Maybe one day. Maybe one day, bro. When XRP blows off the top, will you still be able to... Will you still be the same you with making content? I mean, yeah, probably. I don't see why not. Money does change people. For sure, we see it time and time again, but it's like, I think I've been in this journey so long that if something miraculous does happen, which I do, in my mind, think in the future, I know people get antsy and they think a fucking year or the end of 2025, the end of 2025, $100. Yeah, I don't know about that. But in the future, I do think the future looks bright in that aspect if Skynet doesn't take us all out before then, if we actually get the fighting chance to make it that far. Tangent has never been hacked. Ledger has a couple problems with that. Yeah, I don't know what problems you're specifically referring to. I don't think any terms of like being hacked, like the wallets themselves. I've seen data, like people's data, that being leaked, and I'm still not entirely sure on the severity or how extreme some of the people's data has been. But that's the only negative thing I've heard about Ledger. Shout out to those hash bar heads smoking those shards right now. What does that mean? Daza UTD playing well again, $10 this year, be great. I don't think I'm familiar with what that is. I use a Ledger. Only sucky thing is it doesn't track your average cost for your holdings, so you have to figure it out yourself, if that matters. Yeah. Like I said, I like Ledger, but yet again, just that data breach stuff, that's worth looking into. Ledger's UI is pretty cool. I don't know about you, but on my timeline, I'm waking up to $1 million XRP. Who the fuck is saying that? Seen a guy today predicting 10,000x. I see people predicting everything out their ass. These guys can't even predict the weather tomorrow, yet people are out here saying fucking $100 XRP by the end of the year and shit. What do you think the bottom is? I think looking at the fear and greed index, that's kind of always been my main thing of looking where the market bottom is, because as much as we say the great decoupling is coming eventually from utility down the line, we are still very much tied to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the vessel that controls the whole market still, unfortunately, and we need liquidity, dude. You always got to keep your eye on the total crypto market cap and the fear and greed index. When we're sitting at fucking the lowest we've ever been at, and we've been sitting at that for a while, I think we've been pretty close to the bottom. That's why I don't time this shit. I buy when I buy. The price is not going to stop me. I'll buy XRP if it's up. I'll buy it if it's down. The whole name of the game to me is stacking, because at the end of the day, in my mind, yield is the name of the game. So I want as much of these utility assets as I can, and then when the yield opportunities present themselves in the future, that's it. I want to take advantage of the yield. That's it. Either way, we will be rich. I'm claiming it for us all right now. From ramen to caviar. I don't even want caviar. Fuck that. Fucking hate caviar, but fuck it. I'm all set with that, dude. I'll just buy like a couple of pizzas or some shit. I'd rather pizza than fucking caviar. You gotta be a sadistic fuck. Be like, oh, I want to go get some caviar. You nasty bitch. You're definitely hanging out on the Big E. The Big E Island. 8 to 10 by year's end. It's ambitious from where we're sitting right now. I could see it. I could see us within the year. I'm thinking more like November-ish. If we start seeing a market recovery, November-ish. At least 3 to 5. If I just had a guess, yet again, I don't have a crystal ball. No one does. I wouldn't even quit my job as a kitchen manager. I get free food here. Yeah. Just having a fat stack in the back of your mind, knowing you got that money, though, going to a job takes on a whole different psychological factor when you know you have money set aside, because then you're always like, oh, I could just leave if I want to. That's the mindset of what the money allows you to achieve. It's just like the freedom. So if like your boss is like fucking with you one day, you're like, I don't fucking need this shit. You kidding me? I got stacks in the bank. You fuck yourself. I'm out of here. Smoked unicorn hearts, delicacy. I wish we'd start seeing some decoupling from Bitcoin. Yeah, it's not going to happen for a bit. There's still a lot of uncertain variables going on right now, obviously. Yeah. This time the alt season was the friends we made along the way. Yeah. 16-ounce Delmonico Black and ribeye. Classic. You know what I'm buying with my XRP money? Eventually, once the yield and everything is set, because I want to hit a certain number and then get yield coming in, and then worry about actually blowing the money on like stuff you want. I want one of those what is it called, dude? fuck, they're all over TikTok. Videos of people cooking on them. They're like a black top or something like that. And you'll see these guys, they got it out in the yard morning cooking up like this tremendous breakfast on like a black top, black stove, some shit like that. I forget if that's what it's called. Blackstone, is that what it is, dude? Oh my god, I would kill for one of those. I would be eating so much healthier if I had one of those. It's just like the ease of it. Go outside, fucking cigar, a J, something like that. Fucking cooking up breakfast for a champion, a fucking Spartan, dude. Oh my god, I want a heated toilet seat. It's the little things in life, dude, you know? I don't know if I necessarily want water squirting up the ass. You know that, what is it called? The bidet or some shit? Bro, get the fuck out. You can get that piece of shit now. Come on, Mike, what the fuck? Why are you calling the Blackstone a piece of shit? Why is it a piece of shit? I actually haven't looked at how much they were. I always was just under the assumption they're worth like $2,000 or something like that. And I'm not going to pay fucking $2,000 for that right now. Why would I do that? I'll give you my Blackstone. How much is a Blackstone? Is it way cheaper? Yo, Brendan. No, oh, what? They're only like 300? What? Are you fucking with me? I always thought they were worth like $2,000 or some shit. Are you kidding me? Oh, fuck. Maybe I'll get a Blackstone. Maybe I don't have to wait for XRP to fucking moon. Are you kidding me? What, dude? Yo, Brendan Dobbin with the 5 Schmeckel super chat. Thank you for the streams and videos from Ireland. Yo, I appreciate that, bro. Ireland, I always want to go to Ireland so bad, dude. Ireland's tough. I would love to go there. Yo, you guys are going to buy me my Blackstone. I appreciate that, Brendan. Everyone else giving the super chats today? This is going to my Blackstone fund. He's about to be whipping some eggs and bacon. Dude, I'll be whipping it up on stream. You kidding me? Yo, if XRP hits fucking 240 again, I'll buy a Blackstone. I just got back from Ireland last week. Ireland looks tough. I'm about to be cooking up literally the best eggs on the fucking planet on that Blackstone, I'll tell you. That's funny. I would take trips out of the country. Yeah, no, for sure. Oh, nice. Cohiba cigar. I'm not familiar with a Cohiba. I haven't had a cigar in a minute, dude. I don't even remember the last time I had one. Probably when the weather was nice. I was out fishing. In beautiful culture. Yeah, I got some Irish in me. Italian and Irish. Way more Italian than Irish, but a little bit of Irish. I got some red in the beard. With the world map, what about it? If it goes back to 380, I'm off to Thailand. Yo, you could buy an apartment or rent an apartment in Thailand for like $400 a month, and it's nicer than anything you could find in the States. Let me see. Irish, German. Let me see. This fucking page is fucking up. Yo, guys, I appreciate the super chats yet again. For real. I appreciate that. You too kind. Setting the tone on the Friday. Real good. Buying my Blackstone. Let me see. The lady boys in Thailand. What are you saying, bro? Cohiba is the most expensive Cuban. For real? All right, we got some videos I got to get to. Let me see. Where's the fucking remote? Where's the freaking remote? There it is. Let me turn up some volume on that. You can't own property. Why can't you own property? That's fucking stupid. I mean, technically, you don't own property here either. Guys, do me a solid. Hit the like button real quick. Real quick. Do me that solid. 100 weasels in here and only 57 thumbs up. That is a bunch of bullshit. That is a bunch of bullshit, I will say. Hit that like button. Don't be Gary the Fairy. Not hitting the like button. Come on now. Let's be real here. Does Thailand have the best? I assume by LB you mean... I don't know what you mean by LB. LL Bean? I don't know. It's just their laws. If you was to marry a Thai woman, she gets 51% ownership. What? What? For what? For what? Having a Johnson between the legs? No, come on now. Not the Magic Johnson, bro. That's a scam. Why is everything a scam? Is there anywhere you can go that, like, it's not a scam? Is there anywhere? There's no... I mean, I guess... all this type of shit is, you know, semi-recent in terms of the time frame we've been on this planet. I mean, people used to just go live off the land. There's still fucking remote tribes in the Amazon and shit. Greenland, maybe? Yeah, but who wants to live in Greenland? I don't. I'm not trying to live in Greenland. Fuck that. What's the motherfucker got to do? Like, if I live in Greenland, I don't know. I'll go live. I don't even know where I'll live. I saw Paul Rosalie, whatever his name is. He went back on Rogan and Lex Friedman like a month or two ago. And they made contact with some of the uncontacted tribes in the Amazon. And they're meeting them in the river. They're all across the river, like with their Johnsons hanging out, no clothes and shit. And they got like a canoe full of bananas, and they're giving it as a peace offering across the river to them. It was crazy. And then like they all just start like when you watch like monkeys on TikToks in the zoo and stuff, and they throw like a piece of food, they all run to it and fucking fight and like rip it. That's what they were doing with the bananas in the boat. Crazy that they didn't just off the guy, because he got kind of close with it. He was like pushing it towards him. And then they all went for that. I was surprised they didn't fucking bang hit his ass with an arrow. Trump giving everyone in Greenland $100K to leave. I would take straight to Thailand then. Yeah, I don't think he's definitely doing that. He also he's another one, you know. You got to acknowledge he's just another politician who says a bunch of shit. He's also in the files, but they're also pulling some things out from way back when that Donnie was saying, oh, Ghislaine's like evil and disgusting. You guys need to investigate her. That these new narratives are coming up that are painting him in a good light in that whole situation. And then if those are true, that makes you go, why? The whole thing is bizarre. The whole thing is bizarre, the way it's being played like a chess game. You'll get a question every move, literally. Yeah, Thailand is a great option. They give long-term visa for foreigners that buy or rent there. I see stuff. I see stuff about Thailand a lot. I saw that at a Walmart recently. Surprised it wasn't over the bananas. Wait, what? Hey, new to crypto. Can you explain market cap? Some say it matters for XRP. Some say it really doesn't. Market cap is literally just the price of the token times the supply. I mean, I always, yeah, I mean, throughout the years, you always hear that market cap does really matter. I don't necessarily think so. I mean, the price of the token is going to be whatever the price of the token is. It's all dependent on the utility and the demand for it and the volume of buying it. I mean, it's just kind of like market dynamic. Market cap is a figment of your imagination. I don't know. It doesn't really mean anything, honestly. More information coming from the ranch in New Mexico as far as I don't think I'm familiar with the ranch in New Mexico. What's that all about? When the value of everything goes on chain, what's the market cap then? Yeah, market cap doesn't really, like, it's a kind of misleading term that whoever just said that. It doesn't really fit too well for crypto per se. Animals, they're still the same in the US. Kids buried. Where at? In New Mexico? Thailand. I need to buy a gun for protection when the Civil War starts. If the Civil War starts, it's going to be a bad time. Cloning. I mean, they definitely have dabbled in cloning for sure. In New Mexico Ranch, did you guys see the hatch he had on the island? It's a hatch that leads straight into the ocean. Wonder what he was using that for, or what they were using that for. Maybe, I don't know. Who knows? Kids buried on E's New Mexico Ranch. I mean, dude, did you guys also see when he was indicted back in 2008? The next day, he bought an absurd amount of acid, sulfuric acid. And then they're trying to say, oh, but no, he used it for like sanitation on the island and stuff. But it's a large amount. It's a large amount. Very coincidental timing too. The day after he's indicted. I don't know. No one knows. But it's just bizarre. Just bizarre. They were all shapeshifters and lizard people. Yeah, something like that. I think they're live. I don't know if it's a YouTube video. I think they're live. Let me see. I'll tune in for a second if they're live. How stablecoins? Yeah, they're live. Hold up. Let me see what he's got. Yo, what? Versan's got the fucking shades on. What is up with that shit? Let me see what's going on here. Let me tune in for this for a second. My bad. I'm at work. Shout out work, bro. Yeah, don't you guys buy sulfuric acid? There's not too many use cases for sulfuric acid in my mind, you know? especially in the context of what those guys were up to. The jerky talk, the grape soda, the pizza. You know, for a group of people who fucking loved pizza more than anything ever created on the planet, you never see one picture of them at a pizza party. Very bizarre. Let's take a look at what's going on with this Versan. What they're talking about. I just lost the tab. Where is the tab?
Have a lot of evidences to point out that there is a misconnection with reality because the bond market is under pressure, and historically that's not a good sign. When you talk to people, when you talk to day-to-day people, whether it's in America, in the entire world, I don't think the stock market reflects the reality. How do you feel about that, Versan? I think something is not aligned.
Ooh, he's got the shades on.
Aligned. That's what makes it so comical.
I don't have any shades
at the same time.
right now.
The more we look at all of this, it's so clear that the financial system and everything tied to it is so far more calculated than most people.
They depress you,
realize.
prepping for the end of the world. Yeah, a little bit.
And just to derail very slightly, it's just while the public's attention was directed toward this high-profile
He bought
scandal,
it
and you guys
a
know
week
what I'm
after
talking
he was
about.
indicted. All right, I was off
There's
by a couple of days.
theatrics in there, even though there's a
Melting
real
bodies.
nefariousness.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm ready for Versan in that right now. I'm kind of just vibing. I don't know if I want to be depressed necessarily right now. I think you're right. Dude, Versan and Digital Outlook are great. Mike Patrick Riley was on a podcast I watched. He's super smart. Check him out. Maybe. There's a video of Whitney Webb I wanted to check out real quick. But first, I think we have to watch this. This seems like... I don't think there's anything more important than Michael Saylor right now, literally telling us how it is.
Bitcoin has been scorned. All right, let's face it, folks. Bitcoin has been scorned from its very inception. So when it comes under pressure, under periods of stress, holders obviously are ridiculed, but nobody, and I mean nobody, takes more heat than my next guest. I want to bring in now Strategy Executive Chairman, also founder Michael Saylor. You know, Michael, listen, I give you props because you go everywhere, you talk to everyone, even though you know these people either A, don't know the story, and B, don't care to know the story. But now I think the audience is so broad. You know, every kid told their uncle to buy Bitcoin last Thanksgiving, and now they're getting hammered for it as well. What is your general reaction to the current pullback, particularly since gold has been going up with this very same narrative that people thought would send Bitcoin higher?
You know, Bitcoin's digital capital. So, you know,
It's digital capital. It's always a different narrative.
the thing that's interesting about it is the most useful capital asset in the world. You can trade it with 50x leverage in the Far East on a Sunday morning. That's the price you pay to have the highest performing capital asset. So Bitcoin's always going to be very volatile, and it's going to be high performance. And if you want to invest in it as a capital investor, you need to have a 4 to 10 year time horizon. If you don't have that 4 to 10 year time horizon,
Digital
then
gold. What happened to the digital energy narrative? What happened to the store of value? What happened to its digital currency? I don't know. I lost track of all these different fucking narratives.
you're better as a credit.
I genuinely get triggered when I watch these things because they just brought Tom Lee back on CNBC to reiterate, dude's been wrong literally for fucking years straight, and they brought him back on again to say, oh, I think the bottom is still in. I think the bottom's in. He's been wrong for over fucking 3 years.
Credit investor, and what you want to do is hold digital credit, like our STRC instrument.
Yeah, that's what
I'm
you
going
want
to
to
talk to you about the STRC in a minute. Obviously, that's come under some criticism as well. But I want to go back because you and I have had some great conversations over the years about what Bitcoin could do for the world. Not just investors, but how it could change the status of the world, particularly underprivileged folks.
Makes
in fact,
people
recently
poorer.
you reiterated, if the rest of the world knew what I know, MicroStrategies, Michael Saylor, you're saying that your stock and Bitcoin, will go to 10 million. What is it that the world is missing? What is the message that too many people still don't understand?
Tell me.
You know what? The key to understand with Bitcoin is digital capital means property rights to 8 billion people
Oh my God.
from the palm of your hand. So we've never in the history of the world had the ability to give wealth in a portable asset that you could move at the speed of light on a mobile phone or computer to computer. And most of the people in the world, 6 billion of them or more, they don't have access to real estate in the United States as a store of value. So for them, Bitcoin is the closest thing to being able to move all of their assets, all of their wealth to the United States, to the most secure place in the world.
Dude, it's fucking insane. It's insane that he still talks as if it is the only digital asset that has these characteristics when there are better fucking technologies. We've seen him throughout the years. Back when, like, the securities questions, he's like, yeah, no, everything else besides Bitcoin's a security. Then ETH wasn't classified as a security. But I don't know, the ICO and everything regarding that still very interesting. But yeah, everything else is a security. And then XRP is not a security. Oh, but everything else is a security. Dude's a fucking idiot.
You also, in the past, said that the United States itself should secure millions of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
We do have a crypto-friendly administration, but recently, I think maybe it's the banking industry, there have been some setbacks down in Washington, D.C. What's your feelings with respect to policy and maybe some of the pressures on Bitcoin right now emanating from the fact that maybe you've hit a few speed bumps in D.C.?
Bro, the speed bump is his own fucking body, dude. I sold a good bit of Bitcoin and used the money to buy more XRP. That's what's up. Speed of light takes like fucking 14 minutes to move. Well, it's definitely not the speed of light. I get what you're saying. Yo, what up, Word Bear?
Well, you know, I mean, the nation bought Alaska, it bought Texas, it bought California, it bought the Louisiana territory. They were all very good investments. We think about Greenland right now. That's on the top of everybody's tongue. What's pretty clear is that you're going to want to be the leader in digital intelligence, that's AI, and you're going to be the leader in digital assets. If the nation doesn't buy most of the Bitcoin network, at the very least, what we want is constructive policies so that United States companies buy and United States investors buy digital assets, and that way the taxpayers and the nation benefits from their efforts.
At last read, MicroStrategies, or Strategy rather, had over 700,000 Bitcoin, 22.8% yield in fiscal year 2025. Are you still, how profitable has the overall trade been or investment?
The company's 100 times bigger than it was 5 years ago, Charles. It's been an extraordinary achievement. The stock's up by a factor of 10. We've outperformed every Mag 7 company except for NVIDIA. So it's extremely profitable. I think the company's 3x the performance of the S&P index over that time frame. So we're very pleased with the Bitcoin strategy. Let's
shift to the STRC variable rate Series A perpetual stretch.
All right, we get the picture. We've heard this guy's fucking spiel plenty of times. The literal Jordan Belfort of our time. Only down 70%. That's nothing crazy. This is what I wanted to see if this is worth anything. Oh, I didn't fucking send out the tweet. I'm an idiot. Hold up. Let me send out the tweet letting us know that we're live. Guys, you got to hit the like button real quick. Takes 3 seconds. And that's all you got to do. It's free. Move your thumb. You'll be okay. Post on Twitter. You can also follow me on Twitter. That's what's up. Saylor doesn't sleep. Yo, he sleeps in a coffin, bro. It's very unfortunate. Let me check this out. He shits standing up. He sleeps upside down. He is the lost boy. Yeah, there you go. He shits while he sleeps upside down, dude. I want to see if there's any juicy information in this.
I think Bitcoin is obviously very key to their plans, but they need Bitcoin to stay, as Larry Fink said, a technology for asset storage. They refuse to have it be a currency. And actually, Jeffrey Epstein gave an interview about Bitcoin that I didn't know about until maybe a couple months ago. It's not a currency. It's, a technology for asset. Bitcoin is kept in that box that people like Larry Fink and Jeffrey Epstein and people like them, these guys want Bitcoin to be a specific thing because they can use it.
Damn. This is intense.
So like this election is no different. I know that people like the whole idea of we need the political savior to come save us. Let's get the right guy in the White House. What a mess our whole country is. We need to get the right guy in the White House. The guy in the White House is always a front for the bankers, and it's pretty much always been that way.
True.
The CIA itself It's the bankers. If you look at the early CIA, it was all bankers. It was Wall Street lawyers out of Sullivan and Cromwell. You know, that's who's been doing this the whole time. And now they're enslaving the planet with spy satellites. And they're the spies, you know? So, like, I don't know. I just get so tired of the election rhetoric sometimes. People just really need to understand that this is the bankers. They run the public sector. They run the private sector. This is a financial slavery system. It's the slavery system they've been using for decades, but on steroids. And in Latin America, their big focus is to integrate Argentina and Brazil. They want to do the same thing to South America that they did to Europe to create the European Union, which is start with a free trade agreement for all of Europe. That's how the EU started. It evolves into this bureaucratic totalitarian behemoth, and it's yoked to the US through the Eurodollar. They're doing the same thing in Latin America. There's all these different iterations of it, right-leaning and left-leaning, which are basically all globalist governance, you know, attempts for integrate South America at the regional level. There's ProSur, there's Mercosur, there's UNISUR, there's ALADI, there's all these different acronyms. There's the Organization of American States. The goal of all of these, one way or another, is to regionally integrate, whether it's under right-leaning dialectics or left-leaning dialectics. That's what they want. And they want a free trade of the Americas. So not just NAFTA, that was the North American one, right? They want one for all of the Americas. They want to regionally integrate all of the Americas at the economic level, lead it down this path towards bureaucratic regional governance to be part of this global governance patchwork thing, which has been, you know, the push for arguably a very, 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 very long time. And they want to do it with spy satellites and all this other stuff going on. But the idea is to do that same model used in the EU, but they want to yoke it with dollar stable coins, not the euro dollar necessarily. And so the Argentina, Brazil and Argentina are the ones they need to have most under their thumb because they're the biggest countries in size of South America. You get Brazil and Argentina, you basically get the whole continent.
Well, we have Argentina.
So my concern is you're going to have them try and do it the right-leaning way through people like Javier Milei, and if they get him back in power, Bolsonaro, and frame them as, oh, they're defeating the baddies, but really they're just, they're the other hand, like we discussed earlier. And what's interesting too is like a lot of this group that's discussed in the Green Plus piece, RSK, the satellite firm, and some of the connective tissue between them that includes, Zappa, Wince Casares, and these figures are essentially like the Argentinian branch of the PayPal mafia. A lot of their companies were funded and directed by.
For people who don't know who Whitney Webb is, Whitney Webb has been tapped into this shit like spot on for a long time. People like her and Alex Jones and shit, like they've cracked this case long ago, going way deeper. She's got plenty of books, and yeah, like someone said, she's a class action dot connector. She knows her shit regarding especially what has been going on with the Big E stuff and just the general like globalist agenda, like enslaving us all and shit. She's another very high verbal IQ spurg who is very big picture, but won't say when or get into detail, just speculation and tinfoil hattery. I don't know if I would necessarily agree with that.
Zappa, Wince Casares, and these figures are essentially like the Argentinian branch of the PayPal mafia. A lot of their companies were funded and directed by this entity that Mark mentioned earlier called Endeavor, which is chaired right now by Edgar Bronfman Jr., who, if you've read my book, you'll know a lot about the Bronfmans and organized crime and political power. They're, for example, the family that essentially bankrolled Justin Trudeau in Canada, among other figures. And they're very powerful. Reid Hoffman of the PayPal mafia and LinkedIn and whatnot, also a very close Epstein pal, is also very intimately tied up with Endeavor. And the companies that Endeavor helped create are some of the biggest companies in Latin America now. Many of them are based in Argentina. The biggest one, of course, is based in Argentina. The first Endeavor success story, which would be Mercado Libre, which is Marcos Galperin, who, as Mark mentioned earlier, he's on the board of Satellogic, involved with a lot of these other companies. Mercado Libre itself is very much interfaced with Paxos, PayPal, and groups like that. And it's sort of like what happened earlier, what I mentioned earlier about those figures, sort of king making the corporate titans of Latin America. So this is like a modern iteration of that with like the same players. You know, they're funding these startups and ensuring which companies get big and if they succeed, but they're, you know, Endeavor's not an Argentinian entity. It's an entity run by people like Edgar Bronfman and Reid Hoffman. And so there's an Endeavor Argentina branch, and pretty much all of these companies that we discuss in the piece that are based in Argentina are part of this Endeavor Argentina network. And Argentina is where they, I would argue, are going to test out a lot of these efforts. Most likely under Milei, because he's very amenable to these kinds of policies. And so one of these figures that, you know, that comes up a lot in the piece, this Diego Gutierrez, he's one of the co-founders of RSK, of Rootstock. He gave this very revealing interview about a year ago, and he was talking about several things that I think are important to bring up in the context of this interview. One of them is that as Bitcoin becomes integrated into Wall Street, Bitcoin has to shed its ethos, as he called it. Essentially, it has to stop being a tool of dissent, a threat to both commercial and central banks, and essentially become their tool. That's what he says. So for Bitcoin to succeed, in his eyes, that has to happen. So that's very telling.
That's what Lutnick said,
and then he
too.
also says that there's going to be a concerted push to move away from money printed by the state, meaning central banks, and instead move to commodity-backed stablecoins where the people that own the commodities will have all the power. I think that's very interesting. Because obviously Milei, for, you know, in his case, right, came to power framing himself as very libertarian, but his policies thus far have shown him to be very crony capitalist, in my opinion. We've talked about this before, and Mark brought up some stuff, you know, to that point, but keep in mind too that, you know, a lot of the people in his government are from JP Morgan, for example, or the Argentinian branch of major Wall Street banks. He's been very closey with people like Fink and Musk, as discussed, among others, and, you know, very friendly with like Zelensky and the Ukraine stuff. I mean, this is not a very libertarian guy under other metrics. And there's been a lot of, you know, antagonism with him and Argentina's central bank, which of course is responsible for a lot of bad stuff that has happened in Argentina. But people also need to remember the history of how Argentina got here, which, as a lot of this fiscal trouble for Argentina began when it was run by a US and CIA-backed military coup, then under Carlos Menem, who was the great, I say this great not in the actually like, oh, that was great sense, like big, I guess, the big neoliberal in Argentina, recent political history, who was basically just like a goon for, you know, US, you know, foreign interests really to like gobble up Argentinian resources. Milei is a big fan of Menem, and some of his the people that are in his government started their political careers under Menem, like Patricia Bullrich, the interior minister, for example. So, you know, you could really frame Milei as a continuation of that stuff, you know, because Mauricio Macri, a lot of people in Milei's government are from the Macri government, especially his economics team. You know, there's a direct line to all of that. And so I am very concerned that, you know, that would be celebrated as like a big, yes, we've, you know, he's gonna, you know, the central bank's not gonna print the peso anymore. It's over, and he's saved Argentina. Well, is it really saving Argentina if he's, you know, going to make, you know, they're going to use dollar peg stable coins. They're regulating the cred of Bitcoin right now. And they're going to move to this whole model of commodity backed stable coins, which is already actually happening in Argentina. A company backed by Visa that's based in Argentina is tokenizing basically all of the country's grain deposits to use that as currency. So whoever owns all of the grains, and the biggest landowner is a big former backer of Mauricio Macri, part of Endeavor Argentina. His name is Eduardo Elstein. He owns all of the commodities. He's also a big shareholder of some of Israel's biggest companies. He's going to be the guy that basically controls the money then, right? At least with the grain-backed stable coins. So if you have all these oligarchs in charge of different industries, which is essentially what Argentina has been becoming and has been happening really everywhere around the world, who's going to be in charge of the money? Is that really better than the central bank having it? Because remember, the central bank's run by the commercial banks. So you're just getting, I mean, the same shit under a different, you know, name. basically. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of different stuff going on here, and it's going to be interesting to see how it develops. But the other side of this is what's happening in places like Argentina right now, where people have lost so much of their purchasing power. So like before Milei came to power, I think the poverty rate was just, I mean, it was insanely high. I think it was something like 60%. And then Milei came into power and devalued the currency by 50%, which led to a massive loss in purchasing power for Argentinians on top of that. Now Argentinians are so desperate and are being told that they're undergoing quote unquote shock therapy designed by a JP Morgan guy that they're doing WorldCoin. They're scanning their eyes in the Sam Altman orb for shit coins and a cattle tag, a digital ID. And the idea is to have that be like your access to the internet and using, you know, these tokens and these stable coins, using Tether, using USDC, whatever supported by Mercado Libre's giant entity, Mercado Pago, which is also integrated with Brazil's biggest crypto exchange, Mercado Bitcoin, and then there's Ripio in the mix, which is partnered with all of these guys too. They're going to control all the rails that stuff runs on. And that's where people are running because their money has been so devalued and they have no alternative. And I think that's ultimately the goal, is to get people on programmable, surveillable money by any means necessary. So if you won't do it because you're like, oh yeah, this is a way I'm going to use JP Morgan coin and beat the Fed CBDC, you know, if you're not going to get suckered into that, then, you know, it seems like they'll use destabilization and desperation as a way to get people to onboard into the systems that they're creating. They're not just going to spend billions of dollars creating these systems and have no one use them. They're going to try and use either, you know, desperation created by public sector policies or by private sector policies, and then have, you know, sort of like 2008. Oh, look, the private banks have destroyed the economy. Now we need the public sector to come in and rein them in, even though Obama's cabinet that was supposed to be doing that was literally chosen by Citigroup, right? They're the ones that are going to come in and they're going to rein these in, and these are the policies and changes that need to be made, but actually it's the bankers that wrote the changes that need to be made, right? So we're likely going to get set up for something like that, where they're going to try and make like existing money worthless, and if you want your money to be worth anything and maintain any sort of semblance of purchasing power, you have to use financial products X, Y, and Z, and they're all going to be programmable and surveillable.
I mean, that's been the name of the game forever since we've been tapped into the space. The inevitable CBDC, surveillance state, programmable money. They could take your money away if you do something they don't like or say or whatever the fuck. That's been the name of the game forever. I mean, she's been blowing the horn on that. There's tons of different people that have been blowing the horn on that. When she was mentioning, because yeah, I mean, you need a way to herd the people into the system, whatever that way is going to be. They have to embrace it one way or another. Whether you force them, like she's saying, make their fucking currency worthless, they kind of have no other choice than to jump on board the system. And I'll always remember seeing Stellar post. I'm sure there's other people, like she mentioned, all these other stablecoins have touch points in Argentina and shit. It's not just going to be Stellar. But I'll always remember Stellar posted this kind of like Vice type on the ground segment of them on the ground. And it was this kind of mini doc thing on the ground in Argentina, saying how they kind of want to be at the forefront of, you know, establishing the infrastructure to get them out of this fucking predicament they're in.
If not by the private sector, by the public sector. And they're all going to be interoperable. They're going to be all these different wallets and digital ID systems that look like they're different companies, but they're all the same, essentially, in terms that they can export all their data to the same central global database. And, you know, that's essentially the goal here. So how do we fight against that? Don't use the database, don't use the digital wallet, don't use the digital ID, don't interact with the system. And I think also, you know, I think Bitcoin is obviously very key to their plans, but they need Bitcoin to stay, as Larry Fink said, a technology for asset storage. They refuse to have it be a currency. And actually, Jeffrey Epstein gave an interview about Bitcoin that I didn't know about until maybe a couple months ago when we started researching this. Yep. Oh, yes. No and idea. He says the exact same thing Larry Fink says. It's not a currency. It's, you know, a technology for asset. Basically, if Bitcoin is kept in that box that people like Larry Fink and Jeffrey Epstein and people like them, Larry Summers, presumably, who was on the Zappo advisory board, you know, these guys want Bitcoin to be a specific thing because they can use it. And there's people in the space, like this RSK guy, saying Bitcoin needs to lose its revolutionary ethos. It's got to drop that and become a tool for Wall Street. I think it's pretty obvious what needs to be done to scuttle those plans, which would be ensure the opposite.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes. Use open source
So people
software.
So people need to be putting resources into making that happen. And by
Trying my best here, Whitney.
the fact
trying
that,
my best.
well, sure. But basically to recap on that, if they need the Bitcoin blockchain for asset storage, and presumably if we're right about what's going on in this article, which we seem to be, carbon markets, they need that blockchain. How do we invert their plans and use the Bitcoin blockchain so that it's the tool of financial freedom it was heralded to be, because they can't get rid of it without scuttling their own plans.
No.
Right? So how do we
Bitcoin is money. It's not digital property.
Use
I mean,
it.
it is digital property, but it is money. And it's hard within Bitcoin. There's a lot of hero worship these days. A lot of people getting a lot of pushback.
Yeah, it's not just
against the
Bitcoin.
heroes.
I mean, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. And pretty much most of the heroes are bitches for bankers, whether it's in Bitcoin or in politics. I'm sorry. Well, I think it's important to say, too, that I think there's a lot of people in the Bitcoin media space that will never talk about this or what you just mentioned. And I think a lot of that is because a lot of money and effort has been put into specifically homogenizing media discourse in the Bitcoin space, because they want Bitcoiners as much as possible to be compliant, while Larry Fink and his ilk do what they want with Bitcoin and make it what they want it to be, so that people are content with number go up and sort of the Saylor-esque talking points that have gotten a lot of people have heard those versus what you just mentioned from example. There needs to be a cultural shift in Bitcoin in the opposite direction of what this Diego guy from Rootstock said, where he's like, we need to drop the whole, stop fiscal irresponsibility of the banks and central banks and, be a challenge and threat to their power. We have to drop that if we want to get rich. I mean, that's the mentality there. And I feel like the Saylor mentality really isn't that different from that. We have to push people in the other direction, because if we go in the direction they're pushing those, people to go in, people that want to drop the ethos or whatever and make Bitcoin just a tool for Wall Street. I mean, no. If we let that happen, very bad things happen. And there has to be a fight. And there's a specific effort that's been launched against people that hold Bitcoin to try and get them to be compliant in that sense. And that's through, controlling the discourse in the media space. There needs to be a desire among Bitcoiners to return to the original ethos, not the opposite. There needs to be a fight for that. People need to care about that again.
Very interesting.
The state, meaning central bank.
I would love to hear her talk about the origins of Bitcoin. That's what I would like to hear her talk about. I would like to, because she seems tapped into all this like Big E stuff and everything. And I feel like I've also heard other clips of her praising Bitcoin and all this stuff. But Mike has famously called XRP an unregistered security. He called everything but Bitcoin an unregistered security, unless you're talking about me. I didn't say that. But America won't let Bitcoin. She's tapped into all how corrupt and everything is. And I feel like I have heard her praising Bitcoin in other clips. And then I go, there's some sort of disconnect there, that out of all the things she's tapped into and all these people like Reid Hoffman and fucking all these other guys, there's too many people to keep track of right now. But in regards to the origins of Tether and Bitcoin and who was behind it, MIT, all the different touch points, NSA, all this shit, and she's on board. I don't know. Something just doesn't add up with that. I would love to fucking actually hear her perspectives on the origins of all these different technologies. It's stemming from fucking 2008. Ripple particularly, because the origins of that back in fucking 2004. Granted, back in 2004, it was created by I forget the guy's name, but he has potential banking connections to an old German banking family. And I don't know. Very odd. Very odd. I would love to definitely hear more of her what she knows about like the origins of Tether and all this shit. Very interesting stuff. But yeah, hearing how they, according to her, their plan is to conquer essentially Argentina and Brazil. Argentina, we already kind of have Argentina, but in a sense, under our influence. I don't know how they're making leeway in Brazil necessarily at this point, but very, very interesting, Harry Potter. Very interesting, Harry Potter. Let me see what the frick is going on. Can Saylor bench 225? Nah. Should I stack up more XRP away for the dip? Not financial advice. You got to do what you think you got to do. You get what I'm saying? She's obviously paid by someone. I mean, I don't know. Is everybody paid by someone? I don't know. Because she blows the horn on some things, and then, I don't know. I just don't know. Yeah, the Fugger family. The German bankers, Mike, old school banker family from the 1500s to help start Ripple. I don't know if that's actually confirmed or not, because when I just what's the word? Vaguely looked into it, there was no concrete connections between the Fugger guy, however you pronounce it, the Fugger guy who founded Ripple, like the OG Ripple before it was kind of focused on the blockchain and all that shit. I couldn't find any solid connections between that guy and the old school German banking family. So I don't know if that's just kind of like something some people ran with, but no, nobody knows it all. No one can know it all. That's the thing. I don't know what I want to do. So no, never have people tell you what to do. You got to take your own financial situation into account, you know. You got to make your own decisions. You're a big boy. You could do it. Who are you paid by, Mike? Paid by myself, dude. She has a PhD in global poly Turks. What the fuck does that mean? What the frick does that mean, bro? Let me see. BTC Tether duopoly. I think it was just a revolving door in the beginning. Chowing down a double quarter pounder. That's what's up. Ancient Monarch. Got some what? They get... Wait, what? Ancient Monarch. Get some now, get some later. Not financial... Oh, I got you. I want to know. You think she's freaky? I'm not thinking about none of that with Whitney Webb. I do like her, but she has a massive following. Maybe she's manipulated. I hope not. I mean, never trust anyone 100% for sure. I was setting you up to promote the minute... Oh, that's true. I whiffed that, dude. That was like the ultimate. I could have spiked that. You fixed your Walmart connection. Well, we've been live for how long now? How long we been live? Over an hour? Thanks, bro. You just reminded me. I got to wrap the stream up, guys. Hit the like button. All this shit. Shout out to Baba Yagas. He's making the stream wrap up early. I would have went for another half hour or some shit. Join on the Patreon. Link in the description below. Join the Minutemen. And that's it. That's the best place to support the channel. Exclusive videos there weekly. I just posted one like yesterday. Something like that. Hit the like button. And that's it. Appreciate you. I will see you in the next one.